Welcome to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert, and I'm here with my pal Darren. Punk Rock Parkinson's. I'm looking at it. You are it. It is very nice to meet you. We were
Yes.
both at WPC. We crossed paths, but never really formally connected. So this is one of the
Right.
things that happens with WPCs. I mean, 4,000 people. You don't get to talk to or see everybody you like to at once. So thanks
Yeah,
for
for
reaching
sure.
out, connecting, and let's get to know
Absolutely.
each other a little bit. I mean, tell me about
Yeah.
you, Darren, not just Parkinson's, but tell me about you.
Okay. Well, I'm uh married. We're a combined excuse me, a combined family. We've got six kids total. She has three boys. I have a daughter, and well, I shouldn't say boys. She has three sons, and I have two sons and a daughter, but they're all grown out of the house doing their thing. We have eight grandkids. And so they live about 2.5 hours away from us outside of San Antonio, Texas. I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas, because I love the beach. So, and this is where we want to ultimately be as my Parkinson's progresses and stuff like that. So that's kind of the basics. I have three dogs. We have a pet monkey and a pet pig. And
You
yeah,
said you said a pet monkey. I want to make sure that came through right.
yes, yeah, it's one of those little marmoset monkeys. When they often call them like finger monkeys
Uh-huh.
because when they're babies, they're super tiny. I mean, like they can clutch around your one finger. But he's a little bigger now. But yeah, yeah, we have a pet monkey. His name's Elvis because we
Elvis,
got
of
it.
course,
Yeah,
and your
we got
pig.
him in Tennessee.
Oh, of course,
Yes,
that's where you get all your marmosets. Uh,
yeah, duh.
how about your pig? What's your pig's name?
Pig's name is Dolly, and she's a sweetheart. She's outside, thankfully, but she's housebroken. She sleeps inside at night, and yeah, she's pretty fun. She's very food driven, obviously. So um, to get her to do anything, it usually involves some type of treat or food or Cheerios or something like that. Besides her regular twice a day enormous meal.
Yeah.
you
Now,
know.
I've heard from pig owners that they are extremely affectionate, extremely smart,
Mhm.
loyal. Have you noticed all those things with Dolly?
Yeah, she was housebroken very quickly. We don't even have a litter box in her pen that she sleeps in anymore. Definitely sharp. She's definitely affectionate. I mean, she loves being petted and getting her belly rubs, which it's kind of funny because she'll literally go from standing to where if it looks like you're going to give her belly rubs, she just falls over. I mean, almost like those fainting goats.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's but yeah, she's cool to have around, and uh she gets along with the dogs, and dogs don't mind her. And now Elvis the monkey hates her.
Okay, talk to me about that dynamic.
So basically, when we're bringing her in for the evening or letting her out in the morning, Elvis becomes very alert, and he'll start running circles in his cage, and he starts chirping and chattering. And he just, I mean, we've had Dolly since she was this big, and of course now she's enormous. But he has just never gotten used to her, and so he's not real happy about the pig, and I don't think he ever will be.
And never any sort of traumatic interaction between them. This is just for
No,
whatever reason. Yeah.
no, the most she's done is because in his cage we have like this tray at the bottom, that kind of scoops out to catch food and whatever.
Yeah.
And the only thing she's ever done is she finds the corner of that tray and it scratch herself, and he really hates that. So,
Wow.
but yeah, no traumatic experiences. They've never had any interaction as far as face to face or anything, but he does not like her. So,
Elvis will be Elvis, I guess, right?
yes, yes, he will. Yep.
Well, I love all of this, kind of animal backstory to your life. I think we learn a lot about each other through the environments we keep. I mean, I have a,
Yeah.
a much smaller animal right now history. The most I've had is a dog and a cat, but over time I've had fish, had birds. My yard, I absolutely adore my garden, and my best friends are my lizards. If I could have more of them, they
Oh,
come and go
nice.
as they do. But boy,
Yeah.
I love lizards. I just think
Oh,
they are
that's
the
cool.
coolest, man. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm out here in the Bay Area of California. Um,
Oh, okay.
I'm a lover of the beach, though, and I've never been to Corpus Christi. What is the
Hmm.
university there?
Well, there's University of Corpus Christi, Texas A&M.
Okay.
So Texas A&M has a branch down here, and there's
But that's not the
a,
Aggies. The Aggies are up at College Station, right?
right, right, but they're affiliated. They
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's a different A&M. Yeah, yeah, I got it.
yeah, yeah, and then there's a couple of small colleges here. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a couple small colleges here.
How are
So,
their Parkinson's neuro centers? Are they good at those universities, or do you have any sort of like local place you go?
unfortunately, here in Corpus Christi, the need for Parkinson's care is tremendous. There's maybe one or two neurologists here, and none of them treat Parkinson's.
Wow.
And so, like myself, I drive up to San Antonio to see my movement disorder specialist, and people in our care group and stuff, they go to or support group, they go to San Antonio, Houston, Austin to get to see an MD, a movement disorder specialist and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and I found my movement disorder specialist when I was living outside the San Antonio area, so it wasn't as big a deal. And then I was working at the time, and I got promoted to a branch manager position, and I went up. We moved to the Dallas Fort Worth area, but I one of my, I guess, requirements or asks for accepting the job was that it was okay that I keep my movement disorder specialist down here. And when I have to have my appointments, it's going to be a 2-day process. I'm going to, leave work early the day before, drive to San Antonio, which is a 4-hour drive, stay with some friends, and then go to my appointment and then drive back the next day. And at that time I had good support from my employer, so that worked out well. And then since then, I had deep brain stimulation about 8 years ago,
Okay.
and I have the Abbott system, and they have what's called the Neurosphere Clinic, which is basically it's a virtual clinic where they can um, I can meet with my MDS just like this, and he can tap into my uh, DBS system and do programming and stuff remotely.
Great.
And so that came on board shortly after I moved to Dallas. So that's helped in that I see my MDS about 4 times a year and one time in person every year. So yeah, so it's not as bad now. But
Sure.
yeah, there's just nothing down here. And I mean,
Yeah.
we actually had our first ever Parkinson's symposium here and had 170 plus people. Yeah, and we filled up a gym at the YWCA that we use here for our Rocksteady boxing program,
Love it.
and we were like, we're gonna have to have a bigger place next year because the gym was packed between the people coming, and then but that what that showed us was the need
That's what I was going to
for
ask you. So
this
going
type
in,
of
yeah,
yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
know when you had this symposium. It was kind of a lighthouse situation, right? And see who comes to it, right?
Yeah, yeah, because the lady that really put it all together, she teaches our rock steady boxing
Great.
classes, and she was just going to use a smaller room at the YWCA where we actually do our boxing in,
Yeah.
and the leader of the support group here, Andy, he told her, I think you need to think big. Let's not limit ourselves here. And well, sure enough, it was a good thing we did it in the gym, but we're gonna have to go somewhere else next year to hold it. So yeah, there's a huge need for support and access to just the knowledge and the therapies and the medicines and the education down here that's lacking big time. And that really showed that to us.
Well, there's several ways to address all those things. Number one, I'm glad to hear you say there's a Rocksteady Boxing. We're good friends with our Rocksteady folks. In fact, we're
Mhm.
hoping we got a Parkinson Foundation grant in the loop where we would be teaching what one of the things we offer is cinema therapy, and it's online. Um,
Uh-huh.
Teaching the movie Rocky to Rocksteady Boxing participants so they could
Oh,
write a
nice.
narrative about their own hero's journey and not just their personal selves, but something expanded, right? A creative story that
Hmm.
speaks toward the spirit. And you participate in Rocksteady Boxing, I'm guessing?
Yes, yeah, I do. Once I found out they had it down here, I got back in it.
Yeah,
Years back when I lived in New Braunfels outside of San
sure.
Antonio, and I
Yeah.
was part of a support group there, and I was on the board of the Lone Star Parkinson Society at that time. And when I first got diagnosed, a little over 12 years ago now, I got I got incredibly frustrated with first off, just the lack of knowledge about Parkinson's in general. And then it goes a step further, the lack of knowledge about young onset Parkinson's, and then the availability of therapies for those of us that got diagnosed with young onset that are still working. When
Yep.
all these, like LSVT big and loud and all these different therapies they were happening, but all during the daytime.
Yeah.
And so we got together and we actually got Rocksteady Boxing brought to the New Braunfels area, and we got a nighttime class
Yeah.
for those of us that were still working. And anyway, once I got promoted, moved to Dallas Fort Worth, I kind of got away from everything, really, all my advocacy and the boxing and stuff, because I was in a pretty high pressure job, and it was taking a lot for me to do that position. And so I kind of got out of it. And then anyway, we finally ended up down here, and I um found out there was a local support group, and then found out there was Rocksteady Boxing. And the beauty of Rocksteady Boxing here is they do not charge. You can attend the class for free. Of course, they'll take donations or whatever, and that kind of thing. And what we had done up in the New Braunfels area is we had set up a basically a scholarship fund out of
Mhm.
the from Lone Star Parkinson Society to basically cover the fees to do that. And so that was a very important part in the process too, because currently I was let go from my job a little over a year ago. Um, they said position elimination. I sometimes wonder if it was other things, but that's neither here nor there at this point. So anyway, so losing that income, and then I'm going currently still going through the disability process. So I was very relieved to find out that it was free. And where I know some Rock City boxing classes over across the nation and wherever do charge, a monthly fee. And I get that because, some of those places have to, pay for their space in a facility and also supply spare boxing gloves, punching bags, all that kind of stuff. So I get that completely. But it's I guess being no longer working, and it's it showed me that the I guess the it's really showed me the amount of money that Parkinson's costs an individual.
Interesting.
And I recently went to Washington D.C. and for the PD Policy Forum, and we had a training day, and we got a lot of statistics, and one of them being that the Parkinson's costs the country and families, etc., $82.5 billion a year.
Right.
And that's a heavy expense to carry, you know,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
families. And it changes things, especially when an income is lost or reduced dramatically or whatever. And I'm fortunate, my wife has a good job and I have insurance through her. And so insurance covers a lot of stuff. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. But like you said, you see that thin line that you're writing.
Yeah.
And as also when it comes to work, there's an identity thing involved in that too. And
Hmm.
being forced out before you're ready to go, when you feel you still have contributions to give, and even if it is maybe a high stress or difficult job, there's a lot of people, and I don't know if you're in this boat, who feel like, this is part of who I am and part of who I want to be. So,
Well, yeah. Oh,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, I had almost 13 years invested in that company, and they were always good to me, so I can't
yeah,
complain about that. They treated me very well and worked around my Parkinson's very well for many of those years. I did end up when uh, when I was branch manager, I did end up having to step down because it was a high stress job, and I had a really stressful couple of days, and my symptoms got really bad, and basically my movement disorder specialist, we had to get on the telehealth, the virtual clinic, and because I had maxed out the adjustments that I could make and they weren't doing anything.
yep,
And so he, got in there and tweaked my DBS and made adjustments to where I could finally function again. But at the end of that appointment, he told me, he said, you seriously need to consider doing something else less stressful, because all this is going to do
yep.
is increase the progression of your Parkinson's.
So when
And
your job and something that you're trained for becomes a health risk to you, boy, what an interesting proposition, because what's tied into the work. It's your identity, it's your income, it's all these things. And now you're saying the very thing that I've tied into those things is at the same time making my Parkinson's worse.
yeah,
That's
yep.
rough.
Yeah, it was rough. It was tough mentally because I had put so much work into getting to that point,
Yep. Yep.
and busting my ass or whatever. And so to have it be taken away because of Parkinson's disease was a blow. And I like to say it's Parkinson's disease is the gift that keeps on taking. It, and so yeah, it was definitely a blow. Fortunately, they were starting a new department for estimating, and so I was able to step down into that position and work from home as well. So that was a plus.
Yeah.
But anyway, they eventually eliminated my position, and that came out of nowhere. But I
Yeah.
was also, and this is probably more the punk rock side of me. I they the position was a decent paying position, but we also got commission on quotes that we closed out and stuff like that. And then they decided to take away that commission
Ooh.
and reduce the size of our department. So not only were we having to work harder, we were having to work harder for less money.
Yeah.
And I voiced my opinion about that clear up to the owners.
Uh-huh.
And I don't regret that. I but I think that may have had something to do with some of the
Yeah.
reasons my position was eliminated also. But I just felt like I had to stand up for myself. I had to stand up for the people I was working with, my not my employees, but my coworkers. And you know, nothing ever much came of it. I ended up with an hour-long conversation with the owner, which we had a good relationship for many years, but nothing really came of it. And then I still kind of pushed back. And anyway, that I think that was may have been some of the factor too in why my position was eliminated.
Well, let's lean into the punk rock thing because people are clearly seeing
Okay.
stats. They're seeing the hair. I'm going to call up at least
Yeah.
one of your sites here. This is the WordPress site. Is this the
Yes.
main site you direct people toward, or?
Not so much anymore. So I'll kind of go back to
Yeah.
where punk rock Parkinson started.
Ooh.
I since I in junior high, or they call it middle school now. So um I was punk music just drew me in. I felt like these, sorry, my dogs.
You're okay.
But I don't know, I found a place for myself. And so I always identified with that. And just getting older and then getting hit with this diagnosis. I was 44 years old at the time. This was 12 years and about 2 months ago.
Yep.
And so like I said earlier, I found this incredible frustration with the lack of information online that was reliable, that you could actually, you know, valid medical science backed information. And of course, the lack of exercise programs. And I didn't know how to get that out.
Okay.
And so I started that blog maybe a year or so after I got diagnosed. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
And I posted fairly regularly on that blog for several years. I don't think I've written a post on there in probably a couple years, because the blog, I didn't get a lot of traction on it.
Got it.
And I'm not a writer or a whatever. I'm just a what you see is what you get type of guy. And so what you see is what you get in the writing also. And I know that's not for everybody, and that's okay. But I also saw this shift toward social media,
Mhm.
and I didn't really do a lot with that yet. And I would say
Do you have
probably
a
a
weapon of
year.
choice? I see your Instagram, your YouTube. Is there one you'd like to at least say, this is kind of where I'm leaning at the moment?
Yeah, TikTok is
Oh,
the
TikTok.
heaviest place I go. Yeah,
Okay.
that's where but any video I do on TikTok, I put on. I have my Darryn Wright page on Facebook, and then I also have Punk Rock Parkinson's on Facebook. And then I have the Instagram also. But yeah, there it is.
There's Tik, and look,
And
look at this. Recently, 6,400 engagements here on the newest. Or is that pinned? Okay,
yeah,
like, no.
those first two are pinned. Those
Uh-huh.
are videos of me adjusting my DBS.
Got it.
The second pinned one is I actually turned my deep brain stimulator off, and
Right.
then uh, you see how it affects me and everything, and I get
Got it.
up and walk, and or try to walk and all that kind of stuff, and then I turn it back on, and you see how quickly I get back to, I guess, semi normal as Parkinson's can be.
Yeah, well, lots of engagements though too, which is really
Yeah,
nice. So
yeah,
people clearly saw this. This means something to them, and yeah, I mean, social media is a weird beast to figure out what
it
works,
is.
why it works, and you've done a nice job here of responding to people, which I think is something people really enjoy in this space. And you're pretty regular, you say, with these posts.
Yeah, pretty consistent. I made I think two videos while I was at WPC, and then I made one
Great.
the other day when I got home.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I try to stay very consistent on that. I did go through a little funk, the good old Parkinson's apathy.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, the punk rock Parkinson's thing just came from that anger and that kind of being pissed off about the lack of knowledge and awareness and
Yeah.
education. and the lack of therapies and exercise programs for people that were still working. And
Yep.
so, I started that blog as a way to just get that off my chest, just express it out there. And then, and it's obviously it's still up, and I'm thinking about, because now Substack's kind of the thing now
Yep.
for
That's it. That's
writing
where
and
people are
stuff.
pointing.
And so I am thinking about transitioning over to Substack and starting to write again. But I'm thinking about taking that stuff that I wrote on WordPress
Sure.
and bringing it over to Substack, and I'll probably, write something up on my WordPress to announce that, and then,
Beautiful.
put the link there and stuff, because there are times I have things that I want to write about, and I just haven't done it, because
Yeah.
I know that WordPress space hasn't been what I wanted it to be, where TikTok, I mean, I have like 1,600 followers or something like that. So it's not like I'm
Yep.
this big time influencer or anything. And
Well,
really,
but yeah,
I go ahead.
it's not about, like you said, I don't think, becoming dominant in the space or becoming
Mhm.
the one. Um, you're showing value and you're being authentic. And, I mean, it's such a strange beast. We have to, I guess, monitor for ourselves what are our expectations in space. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
if we make it a binary thing, like we're either viral or we're nothing. That's not very realistic or healthy, I think. Right?
exactly. I agree. Yes, I
Are you
agree.
are you contributing? Is it making some kind of impact? And again, are you enjoying it? If those boxes are being checked, I mean, I think you're doing it.
Yeah, and that's really where I got to was, because I know several of the social media influencers that have big followings and stuff, and I love all of them because,
Yeah.
the shaking in my boots Esther,
That's it.
and not, or yeah, not the fake Amber, I think is not, anyway, there's several out there, and they have great followings, and I love what they do. And some of them, but their videos, they do great videos. They have some production value to them, and lighting and all that kind of stuff, where I don't do that. I can't afford all that stuff, like the microphones and and the circle lights and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't really care about that. I've always, like my blog, it's me. And so my videos are me.
You wouldn't be
I
punk rock if it was too polished, man. I mean, punk rock
Yeah,
has the aesthetic of being edgy, dirty around the corners, askew,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yep.
uh, don't ever, my advice anyway, don't ever compare yourself to others as something to be right or wrong. As long as you feel you're being honest and authentic and it's pleasing you, I mean, you're being punk rock Parkinson's. I mean, it's a great name, by the way. I think punk
Oh,
rock
thanks.
Parkinson's. And I'll say
Yeah.
this, I think it's very needed because here's what I see, and just give you a little background on my side of things that, you know, my dad was diagnosed 25 years ago, and that's what led us into who and what we are. And one of the main things is this documentary series. Dad and I went to 25 or 30 major league ballparks in one summer back in 2004 when he was early onset as kind of a
Hmm.
father son. We drove 2 months, 20,000 miles.
That's
Very
awesome.
very difficult getting place to place, beg, borrow, steal. Not much.
Hmm.
Um, but
I
get where we
hear what
need
you're saying.
to and made the
Yeah.
documentary. And it was like, great. And at the time they said, oh, cure within 10 years, and that was everybody's rally cry. And of course, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And since then, we've continued to follow up. And, my kids get involved. You know what it's like becoming a dad and, bringing on the
Hmm.
multi-generational aspect, dad becoming a grandfather. And it changes his perspective on what is quality of life since cure isn't apparently within range. How would we live well with this thing? And
Yeah.
at WPC, as a matter of fact, we premiered the fourth film in the series. We've gone along the baseball motif. So we have first base, second base, shortstop, and that was third base we showed. And
Oh, okay.
the cool thing, I think you'll like this aesthetic. I'm guessing at some point you've been to a Rocky Horror Picture screening.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
it's just
been a while,
crazy.
but yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
whacked out, show about, in this case, it
Hmm.
was the LGBTQ community, doing, it was the first transgender guy up on screen, and Tim Curry, at least his character, and
Yes.
it's wild out there, whatever. And people took that and said, that's our film, and then started acting it out and throwing toast and doing everything they do.
Hmm.
So what we experienced in our screening at World Parkinson Congress was, it's a very interactive movie by design. It was different than my first three, and people
Mm.
ate it up. That I saw there's this hunger for people to see and be involved with, not just sit and go, man, that's cool. Kind of what you may have seen sometimes, kind of what people call disease porn. And God love the people who make it, but it's poor
Yeah.
me, or this is so rough. And now I'm fighting back. And God love them. Those stories get boring, right? They're the same
Hmm.
thing. I got sick, I got scared, I fight back, and now I'm fine. Or I'm a tough.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
what we're trying to show people is it's rough, it sucks, and we keep going anyway. And then it's beautiful, and then it's horrible, and then it's beautiful, and then it's worse than we thought. And the
Yes.
interactive nature of having dancing and singing and playfulness throughout. We improvise, we play games. The audience was yelling suggestions at the screen. It was nuts. So that's what we're
Yeah.
trying to do. And we feel that's kind of a punk rock thing, right? It's a different version of film and interactivity, because it can't be about the film. It has to be about, what are you going to do with this, right?
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah.
going to become the next punk rock, the next Esther, the next Jimmy Choi, whatever your lane is? That's what
Yeah.
we're trying to proliferate. And that's what our nonprofit, Yes and Exercise, or Yes and X, I should say, as we are now rebranded, is that
Yeah.
we teach improv and storytelling for the Parkinson's community. And there we are, Yes and X. The X is the
Awesome.
unknown. The X is the
Okay.
unsolved, the thing we gotta, because Parkinson's is all about the damn unknown, right?
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
that's what we do. And just so you know clearly, man, you're invited anytime. We play improv twice a week, no charge,
Mm.
online. Anybody from anywhere with the Wi-Fi, just like what we're doing. We do it Zoom. Come and play
Oh,
these
cool.
games, and we just experience each other in interesting, creative, emotional. We laugh a lot. We play silly games.
Hmm.
And it's not at all about performing. It's about play. And
Oh,
that,
I love that.
yeah, it leads to the opportunity of, what we call cinema therapy. And I mentioned this, I'll just briefly put it forward. We just finished Stand By Me, the cinema therapy experience. And,
Uh-huh.
you remember the old 85 movie, right? Or
Oh
86
yeah.
it was. So we have students go through 16 weeks, 1 week at a time, this course for 90 minutes per session, where they learn about the movie and the hero's journey, and then they write. Well, we had a student this time for the first time who decided to paint instead of writing, and she was
Mm.
so awesome. She was affected by the movie, she was affected by other people's writing, and she created, this is an amalgamation basically of what she did. It's not exactly her, but you can see the boys
Yeah.
standing on the track holding hands, and that idea of kind of the punk rock Parkinson's message, I believe, which is,
Yeah.
we've got to be the voice. We can't wait for a doctor to cure this. We've got to demand
Hmm.
what we want and what we need in order for this to become what we need it to be. And this is an example
Yeah.
of one of her paintings she did, and it's,
Oh
this
wow.
image of longing and a kid looking out, and I mean,
Yeah.
you
With his
you
looks
can
like a
see,
baseball bat next to
there you
him,
go.
and
He's
yeah.
waiting to
Yeah.
play. He's got to cross the road.
Mm.
There's all this built into it. And so
Yeah.
we're trying to get that aesthetic into Parkinson's more. And I don't know if you experienced it much at WPC, but I was very encouraged by the lean into art as, not just an expressive to feel better, but to really to inform the research community. You're missing the story. You're missing the voice of the
Hmm.
people going through it. Did you notice or feel that?
Yeah. I do want to go back to one thing you said
Yeah.
about, and that's one thing that's caused me to start my blog too, is the other blogs that I saw out there. And I'm not knocking them by any means, but it was presenting Parkinson's, or a lot of them were presenting Parkinson's in this unicorn and rainbow form.
It's bullshit.
And yeah, and that's not the fucking reality of
No,
it. And that bothered me a little bit too. Not the and it was yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't knock that because, I think I
Yeah.
have a few positive blog posts, but but I wanted people to see the reality of it, and not because it was oh poor me,
Right.
but it was because people don't know shit about this disease
Yes. And
until it hits their family.
right.
You
And
know,
the problematic thing that you said is when people with it do the what I believe through my research, because I went back and got a PhD studying the effect of improv and storytelling on Parkinson's and
oh,
have heard
awesome,
tons of stories about this.
beautiful,
What I
yeah,
feel people are doing, what the research presents, is they're performing from the standpoint emotionally of not wanting to be a burden, of not wanting to feel the shame, of not wanting people to worry about them. And as you know, early onset, maybe you're not presenting that much. Maybe you're thinking because the pills are working, hey, it's not that bad, or post DBS, this is not that bad. And the more that
yeah,
message gets out, the more that hurts the people that they've lost efficacy of the pills, of the
hmm,
DBS, or they never worked for them the way they did. And it hurts us long term because guess what doesn't get funded? Things that people think are not that bad. So if
exactly,
purveying that story, it's not that bad, you're hurting the cause of Parkinson's finding a cure. And again, no offense. I understand why people do it, but I
hmm,
also know I have a pretty good grip on why they do it. And again, it's human, it's understandable. It just doesn't serve us.
yeah. Well, and it's just like that first painting you showed. I mean, I love that because with Parkinson's, we know that the light at the end of that tunnel is that train.
That's
And
it.
so, and, but we also have to stand together to face it. You know, I've become well aware in my 12 years of dealing with this disease that, and I don't want to come across as pessimistic or negative, but I do not believe that I will see a cure in my lifetime. I'm 55 now, I'll be 56 in a month. And I've gotten to where I'm okay with that.
Mm.
Um, but something that really stood out to me at WPC, and it was actually, I was a volunteer there, so I didn't get an opportunity to really attend sessions or anything with the volunteer positions that I chose to do, which I was okay with. I knew that going in. But I was able to have conversations after the fact or during, maybe I'd have an hour where I wasn't having to do volunteering or whatever. And so I would meet up with people that I knew or, and, and by that, and by doing that, I got to meet new people that did attend some of these sessions. And probably one of the most impactful conversations I had with somebody, and I wish I could remember who they were, was they went to a session about, talking about curing Parkinson's. And but the session was all about as they're getting more knowledge and understanding of this disease, they're starting to realize, just like people with Parkinson's, we're all snowflakes. Our our symptoms can be very different, or we can have the exact same symptoms, but the Ritari that works for you didn't doesn't do jack shit for me. And
Right.
anyway, but the conversation, I guess, in this session was about there may not be just one cure for
Right.
Parkinson's. They've come so far, they're understanding that while dopamine is a part, or loss of dopamine is a part of it, there are other things going on, and there can be other causes that trigger that loss of dopamine. And so if you don't fix that cause, then it's not going to do anything for the dopamine or the alpha synucleins or all these big scientific words that. And and so it was interesting to hear them talk about there may be, what might cure my Parkinson's may not cure your dad's
Yep.
Parkinson's, or,
Right.
or a couple of my friends or whatever. And that was a pretty, initially I took it, I was like, shit. But then I looked at it from the positive side of, you know what, they're starting to understand this more. They're starting to understand the different areas of the brain and how Parkinson's affects those areas, and again tying the brain and the gut and the environment and all these things. And so it really, I kind of left that conversation actually a little more encouraged, where I was initially like, oh my God, here we go, you know. And so that was probably one of the most impactful conversations I had. And at that at the WPC, I mean, I had amazing conversations all over the place with people as I was volunteering and stuff. But it's just and one thing that's glaring in the Parkinson's community is the need for these scientists and researchers to sit down and talk to people with Parkinson's, because they typically don't do that. It's, they're in a lab, and I understand it, but there was, you know, we and it's still ongoing on WhatsApp, this big WPC chat of a bunch of people that were going, and so we're still talking and stuff. And someone was sharing a story about how when they got to sit down with an actual scientist or a researcher, I mean, they left blown away, and appreciated that conversation so much, because it just helped enlighten them how much, I guess, how much bigger the disease is than maybe the one thing they're focused on in the grant that they received or whatever. And
So, yeah, here's an important point within what you're saying, and so many things you're saying. There's this phrase
mhm,
that I blogged on and trying to expand on, which is, I didn't know that was Parkinson's. And that's not just people outside of the Parkinson's world.
mhm,
Again, billions of people who aren't affected. But it is, in fact, the medical researchers who've never taken the time. And again, no judgment. I understand they're busy.
yeah,
They need to be in their silos,
mhm,
do their work, but they haven't talked to, sat down, listened to, read an account of an individual speaking in their own terms about something that
mhm,
scientifically, having gone through the PhD, I know most researchers look like this. What we're trying to do is to get them to see like a movie. You don't watch a
mhm.
movie like this. You'd have a pretty shitty view of a movie if you watched it like this.
Yeah, and a very very narrowed view of what the movie's about.
Yeah, as
So yeah,
opposed to, let's look at it on IMAX. Let's let the
yeah,
sound come filtering in. Let's be fully exposed. And by the way, and this is the difficult thing for many researchers, allow my vulnerability, allow my humanity to be impacted by the humanity of the person, to not look at them as a data point, to not look at them as
hmm,
clinical research and try to assign a value to their emotion. It's just to say humanistically, what do I feel as this person is saying that? And I know it's a bigger
yeah,
ask. However, I think that is the uprising that leads
hmm,
to greater humanity in Parkinson's and ultimately greater understanding.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely a space that we have to get into, and I think that'll happen. But it's going to take people with Parkinson's that want to. Well, not, I wouldn't say all people with Parkinson's want people to know about it, but there's
I think,
certain people that have
yeah,
the ability to get out in front of people, whether it's speaking in front of 10 people or
right.
500 people. And I've had those opportunities particularly with Abbott, with my DBS, and I'm not trying to advertise for
Oh,
them,
no,
but,
it's fine.
but I got a chance to go and speak in front of, they brought literally, because Abbott is worldwide, and they brought all their distribution people in from all over the countries. And I was able to get up and kind of be interviewed by I guess, their direct supervisor or manager or whatever about my Parkinson's. And I turned my DBS off. And the best feedback I got was, I ship these products all day long, or I organize the shipments, but I've never seen how this product actually impacts a person's life, you know. But anyway, going back, I, I sorry, I get off on tangents, but
Yeah, tangents are okay.
but it's but it's going to take the people that have the ability and the want to and the desire to get out there and speak our voices and just start pushing ourselves on these research facilities or whatever the case may be to get the word out because you brought up the all the symptoms that people don't know about. I mean, most people, if I meet them and they're new and I say I have Parkinson's, they're like, "Oh, that's where you shake, right?" And
Yeah,
that's fine,
but
because
that
that's what
story
I
doesn't
that's what
tell.
I thought too.
Yeah, that's right. And so, like, it's not blaming. However, it's
Yeah,
our job as people in the Parkinson's community
yeah,
to tell better stories that illuminate the full reality of this,
yeah,
right? I mean, if not us, who? I mean,
yeah.
the scientists and researchers aren't going to because they're only looking at the pieces. Who knows the full
Yes.
experience? It's the people and the care partners and the family members.
Mhm.
We're the
And
ones
that's
kind of,
why, yeah, that's why I love that iceberg analogy that
that's the one,
is
the
out there
metaphor
for
three.
Parkinson's so much. I mean,
It's
it's
perfect,
phenomenal because for every non or for every motor symptoms, there's probably two non-motor symptoms
at least. Yep.
underneath the water, that
Yep.
people don't see and don't understand and don't get. They don't understand the apathy, the depression, the brain fog, there's so many things that happen to us and can hit us out of nowhere, you
Yeah, and,
know.
and that's it, right? I
And
mean, we don't understand and they don't understand. I give you most recently my dad, 25 years and things are frankly rough. He's older at this point too.
yes.
But, delusions and hallucinations, right?
Hmm.
There's a whole thing. He's had some hallucinations and we've dealt with those and they've gone from mild to kind of scary. But
Yeah.
delusion, when you start believing something that isn't real, we've had
Hmm.
that really acutely, and that's been horrifically painful for him first and foremost, but for all of
Yeah.
us because it's just like his brain has escaped to another planet. He is believing
Hmm.
something that is, and it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But it's part of the neurology. And if
Yeah.
we
And
don't
there,
understand that, I mean,
mm,
what do we think? Is that a tremor? Are you kidding me? No, that's deep
yeah,
brain psychosis.
that
And I mean,
that's almost the easy part of Parkinson's.
yeah,
you
really,
know.
honestly. And that's
Yeah.
why people probably do diminish Parkinson's sometimes. It's like,
Yeah.
that's once again, I point back to, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but that's why we all have to do our job. And look, I got to wrap.
Yeah.
I need to go get my dad some more new Plavit.
Oh, I was
There's
gonna
my
say,
part.
yeah.
I
Is
just
he
got to
on that
know.
medication? I was about to ask
Yeah.
that.
Hey, Acadia, thanks. Yeah, we got
Yes.
plugs for all of our Abbotts and Acadias here. I want to say
Absolutely.
thank you, Darren, for your time, for your
Hmm.
advocacy, and again, I hope we're building a relationship. I hope you'll come play with
Absolutely.
us. Come to
Yeah.
yesandx.org. Bring some friends, bring some family, because it really is community building. And I'm so glad you
Yeah.
like and that image of the stand with us. You get what that is, and you got the metaphor
Hmm.
right away. That's Parkinson's
Yeah.
coming down the track, and that's us saying, we're not leaving. You're not going to run us over.
Yeah.
That's who we need to be. And you as a punk
Yeah.
rock guy know that stuff, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Right on.
Send me that, email me that link
I
because
will.
I
Brother,
won't remember it.
it's so good meeting you, Darren. And let's stay
Great
in
meeting you,
close
Robert.
contact and
Yes.
I'll see you soon, okay?
All right. Sounds good, man. I really enjoyed it.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
this is your daily dose. We'll see you on the next one, everybody.
All right. Later.